In a world covered by endless night, in a place where fear and despair thrive, in a time when all hope seems lost, two individuals arise to stand firm, resist the darkness, and light the beacons of hope to humanity. To the free people of the future, the courage of these two will mark them as heroes. To everyone else, they will simply be known as Nobodies.
Hello YouTube, welcome to Nobodies, the show that nobody's going to watch because we're just two guys talking about absolutely nothing. And today's topic, we're going to be talking about Republican hypocrisies, or inconsistencies. You know, they stand for A, but clearly they're not stand for A on a different issue and stuff like that. And just to be fair, as a disclaimer, our next episode will be covering Democrats, liberals, and progressives and all that, so don't think that we're just a bunch of Republican haters.
We're all about equality here.
Yes.
We're a bunch of progressives ourselves. We believe in equality. So we're going to pick on you guys too.
Equal distribution of criticism.
Yes. Each criticized according to their need. Anyway, yeah, like you said, conservatives, like, they say A, but then they do B. So, honestly, I feel like we should just call them out, you know? Let's do it.
Yeah.
So, starting with leaders, you know, Republican heroes who they look up to. Reagan, first of all, comes to mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for the life of me, I really don't understand what's the appeal of this guy. I mean, I get the whole America aspect of it, but, like, I want to contrast it with, like, Obama. Because I remember when he first got elected, a bunch of Republicans and conservatives were saying, this guy's all about style, he has no substance whatsoever. And when I look at Reagan, it's not the whole lot different. Yes, you got the whole America aspect, but again, that's style, not substance. And you look at substance, I mean, the guy had ginormous deficits. I mean, he did not limit government spending whatsoever, and I thought Republicans are supposed to be for, you know, lowering the cost of government so we don't put economic burdens on people.
Smaller government. That's what conservatives are about, right? Smaller government. Reagan blew it up. I mean, huge. Taxes?
Yep, and there's also taxes. Yes, to be fair, he did cut taxes once. But just once. After that, he raised them again. And no one on the right ever decides to ever point that out.
Look up to Reagan like he's a hero, you know? Like, oh, he's this big conservative hero. And I mean, like you said, when you think about it, when you look at his speeches, it was all, you know, about America and how we can be great again. Yeah. But he didn't actually do conservative things, and it's just so funny to hear, like, talk show hosts. I mean, I don't even need to name them. You know their names. They talk about Reagan. You know, we're looking for another Reagan. Like, why?
Yeah.
I don't want my taxes raised. So, yeah.
And just remember, like, even if you cut taxes but you don't decrease spending, all you're doing is just giving the government an excuse to, like, print more money, which causes inflation. And that's not better. I mean, I don't know if it'd be worse, but certainly not better.
Thinking about it, though, just to play devil's advocate here, he defeated communism. You know, it was the end justify the means, right? Because, now I've heard this from conservatives, though,
I know
they
they
say,
say it.
You know, they raised taxes and blew up government, made the military huge to defeat communism, defeat Russia, and then Soviet Russia collapsed shortly afterwards. But here's my thing. Socialism, and as a conservative, you should believe this as well, socialism is not sustainable. Communism is not sustainable. So we don't even have to do anything.
Yeah, seriously, they were doomed to die. Even if, and this is a debatable question, even if his spending actually helped bring down the Soviet Union, if we did jack for just like, what, just a few more years, it would have happened anyway.
It was gonna happen anyway. Why do you need to raise taxes? Why do you need to make government big, which is kind of socialist? Why do we need to adopt socialist principles to defeat socialism? Like,
again, that's where the contradiction lies. We're going to use socialist means to take down socialism. Huh?
Yeah. Trump?
So, talking about making America great again.
Yes.
We've done a Trump episode, so we're not going to do too much on this guy, but
Little Trump.
Isn't it a little confusing how, again, Republicans are supposed to be about small government, but I can't recall a single time the word small government ever came out of this guy's mouth. and yet he is leading most of the polls. He's not a small government guy at all.
He uses the government to his advantage quite often.
And he's proud of it.
And he's quite proud of it. And I gotta give people credit at the last debate, New Hampshire, right?
Yeah, New Hampshire.
They booed him when he was talking about eminent domain. But when you think about that, it's also funny because, like, boo, eminent domain. And I was, in my head, I'm thinking, yeah, get him, you know, eminent domain sucks. But he's still leading in the polls. And people were still, like, was it CNN? There was some poll online. He won the debate. You know, yeah. By far, everybody said Trump won the debate. And I'm like, really? So like you said, it's so confusing to see this big government guy, this guy who's, I don't want to call him a self-made man. I mean, you look at a lot of his deals, he's gotten quite a lot of help. And he's used eminent domain to his advantage. And it's like, he's not a small government guy.
What has he said he's going to cut? I seriously, I think I pay attention to most of the stuff that goes on in current day politics, but I can't recall a single thing he said he was going to cut.
No, I can't either. I mean, we could be wrong, but I'm willing to stand behind that, actually. I can't recall anything he said he's going to cut. So, yeah. Little Trump, that's our little Trump moment. He's big government guy, case closed.
If you want to hear more, we did an episode on this, like, a few weeks ago.
Yeah, look at the last episode.
I think it might have been the last episode.
Alright, moving on. Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, another confusing case, because sort of like Reagan, I mean, you hear him give speeches about America and all that stuff, and he's a soldier and all that, but when you look at his policies, I mean, like, perfect prime example is he was for a progressive income tax. I mean, we have that freaking quote right up here. I believe that there should be a very much heavier progressive tax on very large incomes. A tax which should increase in a very marked fashion for the gigantic incomes. That's conservative? What?
And the wildlife, I'm trying to think, National Forest Act.
Yeah, all the national park nationalizations.
National parks, yeah, that was Teddy.
Yeah.
So, you want big government or little government? Teddy was about big government, and yeah, he was all about America and stuff. And I think let me look at the White Fleet. He was big on military. He had it sail around the world. But yeah, he was very much progressive. I mean, he had a lot of progressive ideals. He talked about getting money out of politics. Great White Fleet, popular nickname for the United States Navy battle fleet. He completed circumnavigation from December 16, 1907, 1909, by order of
U.S. President
Teddy Roosevelt. So yeah, he had this big fleet that he sailed around the world to basically, like you said, to America. Look at us, we're strong, we're powerful, carry a big stick, speak softly, that kind of doctrine. Which is conservative. I mean, if you look at a conservative nowadays, that's conservative idealism.
Right, but that's completely inconsistent with small government.
Exactly. You want smaller government or you want bigger government? Take your pick, please. So, yeah, that's, you got anything else on Teddy?
Not on top of my head now.
Yeah, I could pick on him, but I won't. Let's move on. Alright, yeah, let's hit the ideals, you know, talking about they want A, but then they do B.
Yeah.
So, starting with, the military, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of going down to Teddy Roosevelt and the military. You know, they want to cut welfare. They want to cut welfare, right?
As if that's going to solve all of our deficit problems.
It'll help.
It'll help, but it's only going to take a smidgen of it. Because our military spending is just out of control and it's unnecessary. And remember, military is part of government, so if you're for big military spending, you're pro-government spending. You can't say you want small government if you want a big military. And I get we want national defense and all that, but you're telling me that nowhere in our entire defense budget there's nothing you're willing to cut whatsoever.
My thing is, how many nukes do you need?
Yeah.
Before you blow up the planet? Okay, I don't know the number off the top of my head. Let's just say it's 1,000. Let's just say the United States has 1,000 nukes right now, and we could literally blow up the Earth. Do we need any more than that? Do we? You know, it's the same with bombs. You know, let's just say we had enough bombs to carpet bomb Russia. I'm not pro carpet bombing Russia in any means, but let's just say we did. Let's just say we could carpet bomb every square inch of Russia. Like, isn't that enough? I'd say that's enough.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, how many nukes do you need? How many warplanes do you need? Do we really need to be world police? Do we need to be able to fight a battle in every country everywhere? I mean, let's look at the money. Let's look at the money, like you said, that we're wasting. And let's be honest, you know? Let's have some of these nations start taking control of their own security.
Right, seriously, why are we still in South Korea? I mean, at this point in time, they should be able to sustain themselves. I mean, seriously, they're an economic powerhouse compared to North Korea. There's no reason why we still don't have military bases there. What about the military bases over in Europe? The Cold War is over. It's been over for a while.
But NATO, we need NATO because the Cold War, oh wait, that's over. Dang it.
The point of NATO was to counter the Warsaw Pact. The Warsaw Pact doesn't exist.
You know what? I could get down with NATO in the sense, like I said, if nations took responsibility for their own security and NATO was a big thing, but we put so much into that.
NATO is us.
It's us. It's us. So, getting angry now.
I just, like, you know, a lot of the Republican debates talk about how, like, we need to revamp our military spending, and I'm just thinking, who's going to invade us? Yes, terrorism is a problem, don't get me wrong, but terrorists don't have an army. They're terrorists. Us having a big military isn't going to make terrorists go away. That's not how you fight terrorists.
Like Osama bin Laden, okay? SEAL Team 6, rolled in, got the guy, rolled out. That's how you fight terrorism. You don't invade nations. I mean, that's just silly.
Yeah, we can talk about
We can talk about
yeah.
forever, but we won't. We won't. But yeah, I mean, just to hit the point home, the military technically is a branch of the government. And I mean, you look at these military contractors, defense contractors, they have lobbyists. Come on. I mean, I'm pro defense, I guess you could say, in a sense. We'll get to that later. But let's just say that.
Well, we're pro defense. We're not pro offense. We're not pro like invading nations that don't pose a threat to us.
Yeah.
We're not like look. The world's a dangerous place. Don't get us wrong. We get that, but it's just that what we do is way more than necessary. And if you're for small government, I think you should draw the line at necessary, not more than that, by definition of small.
Yeah, like my nuke example. Yeah, that was a pretty good way to say it. Cool. Moving on.
Small government and drugs.
Drug war. Guys. Should a government have the power to kick down your door at 2 a.m. in the morning, shoot your dog, whatever, for a plant? Come on. Drugs are bad, okay? I get that. I get that. I don't like drugs. I don't do drugs.
Neither do I for just what's out there.
Yeah, we're not into drugs. I am very anti-drug. But to give a government that kind of power to kick down your door at 2 a.m. is absurd. And in my opinion, it's wrong. So wrong. Alright, if people want to smoke, by all means, just do it, please.
I mean, think about what freedom means. Freedom does not mean the capability to only make the right choices. If you're free, you have to, by definition, be able to make the wrong choices.
Bad choices.
And of course, if someone's gonna like misconstrue that argument and say, oh, can they make the wrong choice and kill somebody? Of course not. But the difference is when you're going out there and like stealing from somebody or killing somebody, you're affecting someone else. When you're doing drugs, you're only affecting yourself. That's a personal choice.
And even if, let me interrupt, even if, like, let's just say you get high and you drive in a car, you get in trouble for the car accident. Not, I mean, now, you know, the smoking weed, whatever, is a crime. But let's just be honest, the crime itself was the car accident. You made a bad decision and you hurt someone else, so you should pay for it. But the drug wasn't the problem. The problem was that you decided to smoke weed or whatever, and then hop in a car. It's the same with alcohol. You know, you get a DUI, you know, you should get driving under the influence with marijuana or whatever. So I really don't see the difference. I don't know why you need to penalize the drugs versus the person who decided to be stupid and drive while they're high. You know?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And it's also kind of an odd double standard that, you know, not all drugs are illegal, it's just the government-approved ones, because we have the FDA for that. Which, again, is a government entity that's telling you what you can and cannot do with your own being.
Right? And I mean, conservatives, freedom, liberty, it's hand in hand, you know? And another thing, like we're touching on the big government, you know, giving these cops military weapons or whatnot, And I mean, these guys get so much money. You're basically growing government. I mean, you look at the DEA. That thing is huge. They get a lot of money to do that, and even the CIA gets involved.
Yep.
You know, there's no denying it. The CIA is definitely involved in the global drug trade. I'm assuming that they try to track the drugs and see where it's going, like Fast and Furious. You know, they look what that went. Well, why did Fast and Furious happen? You know, because the government is trying to control drugs. So it's silly, it's absurd, and I think it's a very, very bad idea. I'm looking for a term here. It is the antithesis of liberty.
It is. It really is.
That's a better way to put it.
Because if you're pro-liberty, you have to let people make personal choices. I mean, that's just the definition of it.
Yeah, and if you don't want to give them that choice, how are you going to do it? Government, which is what you're supposed to be against in the first place. So
now economics.
My favorite topic, economics. Yes.
So Republicans are supposed to be all happy-go-lucky capitalists, right?
Capitalism, free markets,
Except tariffs.
except for tariffs.
Yeah, I mean, a tariff is a tax.
It's a tax.
I mean, by definition, it's a tax. And who are you taxing with a tariff? The person here in America who wants to buy something.
And let me interject here. How does me paying a tax help bring back that job? You know what I mean? Like, who's benefiting from me paying a tax? That money just goes to the government. It doesn't go to the manufacturer. Does it? I don't think it does. From what I know, it doesn't. Nice.
Okay. Anyway, well, in theory, it's supposed to be a deterrent, and that's supposed to keep, like, jobs here or whatnot, but, I mean, come on, this isn't how capitalism is supposed to work, though. I mean, capitalism, like, one of the fundamental tenets of it is free trade. People need to be able to trade with each other, and when you have competition, you guys love competition, prices go down. Well, I know people like talking about, like, you know, the solution to healthcare is by making competition across state borders for health insurance, right? Well, we can apply the exact same logic to say we can apply the price of X by accepting imports from other countries. That creates competition. That's what capitalism is supposed to be about. And besides, protectionist policies never work anyway. Just look at history. Like, when has the economy ever been thriving when we've had high tariffs?
I can't think of any off the top of my head anyway. I mean, the tariffs are a negative thing, and you don't get a positive result from a negative thing. Yeah, no, it doesn't. You know, who's benefiting? That's the question. Consumers benefit when you get cheaper goods. And actually, talking about capitalism, prices are supposed to fall. I don't know if y'all didn't get the memo. Look at computers, okay? I mean, half that stuff is built in Japan or China or wherever. I mean, yeah, we got Bay Area here, Silicon Valley, whatnot. Prices are supposed to fall. That's what happens. Things get more efficient, people get more efficient, machines get more efficient, prices fall. Technology, it benefits everyone. Now, if the job goes to Mexico or whatever, it's just like the horse and buggy. The economy, the free market will sort it out, figure it out, and everybody will be better because, you know, we're getting cheaper, blah, blah, blah. That's how capitalism works.
And you guys, and when you guys talk about it, you guys seem to understand this. But when it goes outside the border, that's where you guys draw the line. And it's a very arbitrary line, and it's the principle of capitalism applies universally. It's not just like a nation thing.
And here's my thing. I get it. Conservatives, and actually even some Democrats, I mean, you know, I've seen it. They see jobs going to Mexico, they see it to China, and you know, they get angry and they get upset. But here's the thing. This is my opinion. It's not happening just because of, I mean, to send a job to China costs money. To send a job to Mexico costs money. Why are they doing that? Because regulations, taxes.
It's cheaper.
It's cheaper. Why is it cheaper? Because here in America, you've got red tape, you've got taxes, you've got regulations, so many reasons to not hire an American, and so many reasons to hire a Mexican. It's astounding, you know, the amount of government is huge. Yeah. So Republicans, you should be focusing on cutting the red tape rather than yelling at China or Mexico for stealing our jobs, you know?
Tariffs are, now that you put it that way, sort of like the government's created a problem, so now we're going to have this other thing to help fix that problem instead of stop making the problem in the first place. Because we have the highest corporate tax rate in America. I mean, not in America, sorry, in the world.
I think it's in the world. Yeah.
It is in the world. And so companies say, okay, it's expensive to do work here, so we're just going to move away. Oh, we have a problem with companies moving away. We're going to impose tariffs instead of cutting off the root of the problem, which was...
I mean, just to hire somebody, the amount of paperwork, you know, payroll taxes, and you gotta get HR people, and businesses just can't do it, you know? Cut government, it solves the problem.
Yeah.
More government doesn't solve the problem. Come on, A, B, come on. Oh.
And tied into this is immigration, because immigration is, well, sort of the free trade of people. I mean, if you have person with a set of skills who wants to go work in a certain area, which may fluctuate prices depending on what's willing to pay. I mean, that's...
Prices are supposed to fall. That's how capitalism works. I just want to say that again. Okay, people coming here doing jobs or whatever, like, let's just say a Mexican hops the border and wants to work, he wants to do IT for $5 an hour, right? And you're paying someone in the Bay Area $60 an hour. Well, that employer is getting a huge benefit, and he can pass that savings on, or maybe he won't. Maybe he'll just keep it. But guess what? That money's gonna go somewhere, you know? So everybody wins. I mean, the guy that got laid off, guess what? He can go work somewhere else, because ideally regulations would be low and taxes would be low, and he can go find another job like that. So,
which again, you guys say this, so we know you understand it, but when you apply it to a different issue, it's just like, so you got tunnel vision.
Yeah, suddenly it's, tariffs, so suddenly it's different. You know, or immigration, it's, you know, I mean, and another thing, you know, and I gotta hit home with the welfare, okay? Conservatives are against welfare, right? A lot of people come in here, let's just face it, okay, we're in California, it happens, a lot of people who aren't supposed to be here get welfare. Why don't you get rid of that first, you know? Because the people coming over here to work, you know, do good, raise families, great, come here, you're welcome here. But the people who want to get on welfare, file illegal paperwork, I don't know, you know, fake social security cards, whatever they do, I don't know, but and then they get the welfare. Get rid of that, and you get rid of the incentive for those types of people to come here, you know? It's not that hard.
And we're talking about illegal immigration. Like, I get it that, like, you know, I understand the argument, at least, that you want to make sure who goes in and who goes out, especially with terrorism and all that. And I get that.
Thing.
But, I don't want to say but.
How much, you know?
How much what?
How much safety do you want? You know, do we want to pay $1 billion for a giant wall and put snipers on every tower and spend a buttload of money? You know?
Yeah, but my thing is, like, why do people choose the illegal route anyway instead of the legal route?
Exactly.
Because the legal route is so effing hard.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And it's not supposed to be, right? I mean, this, again, a government thing. We want small government. You guys are anti-regulation. So why is immigration such a pain in the butt to get through?
It's hard. Exactly. It should be easy. You know? Pay whatever, I don't know, 10, 20 bucks. I'm just throwing numbers out. But, you know, a small fee, basically to pay for a background check or something.
Yeah.
And then poof. Give him a green card or let him in or whatever.
Exactly. Then you can keep tabs on who's coming in and who's coming out, and people have more of an incentive to, instead of hopping the board and staying in the shadows, oh, this method's easy, why won't I just go do this? It has less repercussions if I get caught.
One final thought from me. Another thing is, actually, from what I've read, what I've seen online, I've actually seen a couple articles, a lot of illegal immigrants like to be illegal because when they get here, employers want to hire them. Now, why would an employer want to hire an illegal versus a citizen?
Minimum wage.
Minimum wage is one of them. Taxes, paperwork, the ungodly amount. You don't have to do anything. You just, the guy works, you pay him cash. Done. It is so much easier to hire an illegal than a normal person. Or not, sorry, a U.S. citizen. That came out all wrong. Sorry.
No, we don't care about PC anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But it's kind of hilarious, though, right? He just described a very simple method of doing business between employer and worker, and isn't that the goal?
That's free markets.
Yeah.
You know, so conservatives, please stop focusing on immigration. It's a symptom to a bigger problem, which right now is big government. You know, like I said, welfare, payroll tax, just taxes in general, paperwork, regulations. Get rid of that, and I guarantee you, the problem will get a lot better. So.
And now the last one.
Well,
pretty big one.
You want to do Social Security?
Oh, I missed that. Right, yes.
Real quick, we'll do Social Security real quick. That is a very, very socialist, I want to say communist idea put forth from FDR, who was a very, very pro-big government guy. I cannot find one conservative who's against Social Security. I grew up in a very Republican family.
Well, some of them are, but the majority are not.
Yeah, they're all about like, oh, it's a retirement system, and you know the government should take care of older people.
And it was my money I put into that system, even though it isn't.
It isn't your money. It's
your money got spent a long time ago.
I hate to break it to you, but that money's all gone, buddy. So
I mean, go to the nationaldebtclock.org. Just type in U.S. national debt. First link you see on Google, and it tells you all the national debt, and like right there, like for what it is we're spending on Social Security. Just look at that thing. You guys want to talk about lowering the deficit because of welfare? I'm sorry, but like food stamps is not the major issue. It is an issue, but it's not the big one. The big one is Social Security. If you want to talk about like lowering deficits and not doing anything with Social Security, I'm sorry, but your economic plan is a joke.
And here's the thing: like the population is actually shrinking. Younger people are having less babies. And we could talk about why, but we'll save that for later. I'm just saying, like, population is declining. It's not sustainable. It's straight up, it's not. We're going to have to get rid of it. It's a big government program. It costs a lot of money. And look, I'm sorry. They spent your money. It's gone. Okay? Why do I have to pay for you?
Does it sound like a scheme? Because it was a scheme.
It is a scheme.
It's a Ponzi scheme. That's exactly what it is.
It literally is a Ponzi scheme. And here's the thing. When I get old, and Social Security, if it's still around, like...
It won't be.
I hope it's not, but let's just say it is. The money that I would get from it isn't money that I put into it, like you all say. That's money that some guy my age now is putting into it.
So we're taking money from this guy to give to this guy.
Socialism. Sorry. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Life's like a box of chocolates. But yeah, come on, guys. All right, last point. Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Conservatives are really proud of their Christian heritage, which they should be.
Jesus.
It's definitely been an important part of our history.
It is a big part of the history. I mean, the liberals try to like push it off or whatever, and I disagree. I think Christianity played a big part, but I don't even know how to say it, so I'm not going to say it. But yeah, Jesus. They say one thing, do another. And I mean, like, wars, the big military, we're talking about war. Okay, here's the thing. Me and you, we're pro self-defense, okay? So let's get that out of the way. Pro-gun, pro self-defense. But would Jesus go and invade another country? Would he go bomb another country?
Another country that's not a threat, mind you.
Like, yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, if we're getting attacked, I mean, okay, self-defense. But, self-defense, we were just talking about. Like, actually...
Vietnam.
Okay, let's do Vietnam.
Those are a prime example because it wasn't a threat to us. It was a backwater country that we were afraid of the rise of socialism, but, like
we said, socialism was not sustainable.
Yeah, like, everyone should have known that. And even if you want to say hindsight's 20/20, again, Vietnam was not a threat to us. I mean, we had an agreement with them that they could hold their own elections and become one Vietnam however they wanted to, and we denied them that because
reasons. Socialism. They had an election. I mean, what
is that kind of a lie?
Well, yeah, exactly, and I think it's hypocrisy, because what if somebody came in here, we wanted to have our own elections, and there's, Russia came in and said, oh no, you can't have elections, and, we're vetoing that. We would go all out on them. But we can do it to other nations? Like, really?
Yeah, but talking about like your Christian thing, I mean, what we did, I mean, no matter how you cut it, you can say ends justify the means, but that's not really a Christian thing to say.
I agree with that. Ends justify the means. I'm not down for that. And, falling to socialism, yeah, that's bad. But, a fleet of B-52s dropping napalm on southern Vietnam, really? Versus an election and falling to socialism? Who cares? Let them be socialists. If they want to do that, their economy's going to tank, they're going to suffer, that's on them. I don't need to spend my tax money bombing some foreign country because they want to follow a different political philosophy. Okay? And people died. A lot of people died, were burned, maimed. Terrible things happened on both sides, okay? The Vietnamese, North Vietnamese did bad things, okay? I'm not gonna say they were saints, okay? But let's face it, the Americans did a lot of bad things too. There are cases of heroism and whatnot, okay? But let's just accept it for what it is. It's war. It's sick. It's toxic. And Jesus would not be down with it, okay? I'm confident in saying that. Jesus would not land or launch a B-52 in napalm South Vietnamese. Yeah, South Vietnam. Getting ahead of myself. Or North Vietnam. I mean, yeah. So Vietnam, I'd like to touch on the Indian Wars.
Yep.
Okay, they want to say, conservatives say that, it's a Christian nation founded on Christian principles. And, okay, like, when you look at the Constitution, you look at the idea of liberty and stuff like that, that has a lot of Christian values in it, I feel like, where there's a section of the Bible, and I forget where, but it says where the Spirit of the Lord, there's liberty, freedom, okay, great stuff. What about the Indians? What about their freedom? And I can already hear there's revisionism. A lot of Indians died, and we kind of took their land. That's not a Jesus thing. That's not a Christian idea. I mean, we fled from England because of persecution. Okay, I can get down with that. Living peacefully with the Indians, blah, 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 blah. But that's not what happened. And there's controversy on who started it. Indians attacked first, white settlers attacked first. But let's just be honest. The idea of Christianity is you turn the other cheek, you live peacefully with your neighbor. I mean, the first Thanksgiving, that's a Christian ideal. having dinner with somebody and getting to know them and their culture. Slaughtering them, and I mean, like the bison, the Native Americans hunted bison. General Sherman went out and he just slaughtered all their food. He killed so many bison. There's pictures online. You can look it up. Pyramids of these skulls. They killed millions of them. Why? To starve the Indians out. Is that a Christian ideal? I don't think so. And I mean, there's so many opportunities that we could have had to have peace with the Indians. They could have had their own state, or private property. Private property solves everything. They could have had their own little private property and done their Indian things, whatever that is. But
I guess we kind of try to do that in modern times, but
well, I mean,
back then, I mean,
they shoved them on reservations. It was kind of like, here's a spot that nobody's using, nobody cares about.
Yep.
Go live on it. Get out of our way. That's not a Christian ideal. I'm sorry. Living peacefully with your neighbor, sharing, and let's be honest, Jesus is about love. Loving your neighbor, respecting your neighbor, kicking them out of their own home and putting them on a reservation is not a Christian ideal. So, I'm sorry. You guys lose things. So, I don't know. Any thoughts on that?
No, I don't have anything to add to that.
Okay.
Going on to the next thing about interventionism. Another thing Jesus wouldn't do is overthrow unappealing leaders or replace them with dictators because that's more politically advantageous to you.
Or support dictators. I mean, bad, very, very bad people that we've supported in the interest of national policy. Terrible people. I mean, would Jesus do that? Would Jesus give them money? Is that a Christian ideal? Like, oh, well, global policy and American interests. Is that a Christian ideal, though? Is it? Supporting Saddam Hussein, in the war against Iran, is that a Christian ideal? Saddam's a very bad man. Saddam oppressed everybody. He killed Kurds. And we're going to support him? Same with Gaddafi. I mean, this is insane, And then we ended up kicking Saddam out. We ended up kicking Gaddafi out because they were so bad. And suddenly they're against American ideals. And now we have to kill the guys who put into power. Would Jesus do that? And so, Iran. Yeah, Iran, you want to touch on that?
You definitely know more about that than I do, but
long story short, the Iran had a democratically elected leader. He went against the oil interests of Great Britain, and I mean, you could even say us. And he nationalized the oil, which, let's just be fair, I'm against. I'm against nationalizing stuff. That's kind of a socialist idea. But does that justify overthrowing a government?
Yeah, we had the CIA overthrow the guy and then replaced him with a brutal dictator.
A brutal dictator. a very bad man.
And you could argue that, like, Iran violated their contract with
They did.
the oil company.
Like I said, they nationalized. They did. They were in the wrong.
But does that justify using violence? I mean, we should have killed someone over oil. Do I really need to explain that one?
I don't think so. I mean, it should be a no-brainer. Like you said, they violated the agreement. They're in the wrong. Let's put some pressure on them. International community, treaties, all that good stuff. Do people need to die? Do we need to install a brutal dictator in their country just for national interest? I don't think so. I'm against that.
Yeah.
As a Christian, I'm not down with that. I'm down with peace, and honestly, capitalism. Free markets.
That's the point.
Yeah.
And I guess the last part, while we're still talking about the whole Christian thing, I know this is kind of a non-issue because it's kind of like, over, but I still hear this being talked about in the presidential debates and how they're going to, like, make sure this problem gets reversed and we can fix it the right way, about gay marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Marriage is a religious institution, right?
Well, that's what according to conservatives, anyway, liberals think that it's a government thing.
Yeah. Well,
So
we're not talking about you guys
We're
next
talking
time.
about conservatives right now. So from their point of view, it's a religious, and my point of view as well, it is a religious institution.
Well,
correct?
it is. Just look at history. I mean, that's the whole basis of it was religious, right? And you guys with your Christian heritage are like proud of it, and yes, because that's your history. So why do you want government permission for marriage? We're not talking about gay marriage. We're just talking about marriage in general. Because in order for the government to say no gay marriage, they have to have the power to permit marriage in the first place.
Ding ding.
So, if they have the power to permit marriage in the first place, isn't that like an infringement on the religious institution of marriage?
On our religious rights. Bam, you hit it, bro. Oh, you hit it. I mean, like, here's my thing. Marriage is ordained by God himself, okay? The man upstairs. Who are you to demand a permit from me? I gotta go to the courthouse or get a priest. Somebody has to be approved by the government to sign that paper to say that I am now legally married. I have to pay a fee, and now my entire tax structure changes because of my God-given right to get married? Excuse me? So,
you don't pay a fee to go to church. You don't pay a fee to go to religious services. Why do you need to pay a fee to get married, which is supposed to be a religious ceremony?
Exactly. Like I said, we're not talking about liberals, different perspective, but from a conservative standpoint, from a religious standpoint, marriage is ordained by God. So why does the government need to be involved? Okay, I should see conservatives and Christians everywhere protesting and demanding that government completely get out of the marriage business. It's absurd. It's insane. And like we're talking about, it's a contradiction. I mean, that's number one thing I hear from conservatives is taxes. I don't know why, it's always taxes. But my point is, number one, it's your right. It's ordained by God, right? Number two, why should your taxes change because you're with somebody you love? What? What?
Because reasons.
Because of reasons? Serious? Oh, I'm getting worked up here.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
And it's like, I know you think gay marriage is immoral and all that, and for the sake of the argument, I'll say fine, it is. But this goes back to like the whole drug thing. That's a personal choice that doesn't harm anybody. It's none of the government's business to meddle in that stuff. Because if you're giving the government power to do that, you're giving them more power. More power is not smaller, it's bigger.
If the government didn't have the power over marriage in the first place, you wouldn't have the gay marriage problem at all. It wouldn't be an issue. You would have your churches, and gay people would go to the church, and you'd say, no, we respect you. Well, hopefully they'd say, we respect you as people, but we don't agree with your beliefs. We don't agree with what you're doing. We can't marry you. And boom, end of story. Of course, there's going to be, I believe in free markets, there's going to be some entities out there, churches or whatever, that will marry gay couples. But our jobs as Christians is to get those people into a better place. You're supposed to preach to them. You're supposed to show them the love of Christ and stuff like that. You're not supposed to tell them they're going to go to hell and shout at them and tell them that they're wrong. Like I said, that's not what Jesus would do. He would lead them to the correct position, And forcing government on people is just... I'm not down with that. That's not a conservative ideal. So, you can't give government power and expect it just to remain in your hands. Like I said, they want to get rid of gay marriage, but they want traditional marriage you know, the government still have power over that. Well, I'm sorry, what happens when you lose Congress or the Supreme Court, as we've seen?
Yeah.
You can't always expect to have that power. You know, government is like fire. You lose control, it's gone. So, I'm sorry, guys. It's a complete contradiction.
Yep, and I guess that, you got anything else? Because I know that was like the last thing.
That's all I got. I mean, there's more things that we could talk on, but
and this episode's been long enough as it is.
it's a long episode. Hopefully, I really am. And I want to call out conservatives. And look, guys, I love you. I really do. Because deep down inside, I know you believe in freedom. You just need to act on those principles.
Yeah, seriously. We know you guys do get it. I mean...
Kind of. You're halfway there.
Yes. And I guess on the issues, I mean, liberals are kind of there, but they have the wrong principles. They don't believe in freedom no matter how much they say it. But you guys believe it. We know you do. It's just you haven't realized that if you believe in freedom, this leads you to certain conclusions that you haven't accepted yet. And that's all we're trying to do.
It's about principles. You know, and you got to realize, you know, A means B means C. You know, if you believe in limited government, that means all government. That doesn't just mean welfare. You know, you're singling out issues. That means government as a whole. So, yeah, you know, just wanted to bring that to your attention, or whoever, and just, you guys can do better.
Yes, you can. We believe in you.
We do. I do. I believe in you. Alright.
Alright, well, thank you guys for watching if you did, and I guess next time, we'll go talk about liberalism.
I'll call out the progressives next time.
So. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Fun times.
Alright, hope to see you then.
Thank you.